Yeah, hi everyone, and welcome to the Diesel Arsenal channel. My name's Warren. I'm from a channel called Warren's Teen Talk, and I'm on here tonight because I'm going to talk to you about UFOs, and in particular the stuff that's going on through the US Congress at the moment with regards to UFOs. And we're going to have a chat and sort of talk about all of that and what the implications of it all are, because this honestly it's massive. But before I start, I just want to thank Diesel for allowing me to do this on his channel. And this, for me, without a doubt, is an incredible honor for me to be able to bring this for you tonight, because as I was just saying to Diesel, this has been a massive passion of mine since I was about 5 years old. And it's when you think about it, it's one of the life's two great questions, one of which is what happens when we die, and the other one is whether or not we're alone. And these questions have been asked by humans since we first appeared on planet Earth. So, so tonight we'll be discussing the following topics. Okay, why has all this blown up now? How did we get to this point, and who are the major players? I'm going to give you a brief history of UFO stroke UAP's involvement on planet Earth, the world's space forces, who are the main alien races, what are the implications for us on planet Earth of contact with alien or um, non-human intelligences, good and bad, what was discussed at the US congressional hearings, the post committee discussions, comments, and observations, what's next, and my thoughts. So we got one person in the chat already, and that's Static, and he's saying, "Hey Warren, nice to see you, buddy." And there's 7 likes on the video, so please make sure you keep that going and keep smashing the like up. It's really really important for Diesel and I. This is Diesel's channel, and we'll be talking about Diesel's channel and my channel as we go through. So, anyway, I'd like to point out to you before I really get stuck into this that everything I'm telling you tonight, except the bit where I discuss the various alien races, is 100% true. And it's not a matter of opinion, it's a matter of fact. And the only reason that I can guarantee that what I'm telling you about the alien races is not 100% fact is because I do not know of any substantiated facts that back up what I'm going to tell you, but I am 95% sure it's true. Now, this issue has for far too long been treated as a joke or the domain of crackpots and loonies by far too many people. The truth is, sadly, it is a matter of the gravest importance, and it is something which potentially could threaten the security of the planet or mark the dawn of a new golden era for humanity, where all the problems of the past are confined to the dustbin of history, and we finally move forward as a unified brotherhood and sisterhood and realize our true potential. Anyway, so on with the show, folks. There has already in the United States of America been a historic congressional hearing on probably one of the two greatest questions we have as a human race. And as I said, these are we alone, and what happens when we die? And this hearing is focused on the UFO stroke UAP phenomenon. For those of you who aren't aware, UAP means unidentified aerial phenomenon. Okay. So Pepsi Pack's just joined in the chat and he says, "Yo, hi, nice to see you, Pepsi Pack. I hope you're well." The hearing the hearing is where are we? Sorry. Yeah, the hearing is seemingly being chaired by the Republican representatives Tim Burchett and Anna Paulina Luna. So in early July, Bichette declared that the US had proof of extraterrestrials and that the alien craft possessed technology which defies all our laws of physics, and speculated that the extraterrestrial craft could be dangerous and that the aliens could easily turn us into a charcoal briquette, and added that the US was 100% seeing things in the sky that might not be of this earth. Now, so I do not believe that this phenomena is restricted just to the United States. Similar incidents involving craft of unknown origin are being reported all over the world. The hearing listened to testimonies of 3 witnesses: David Grosh, Commander David Fravor, and Ryan Graves. The 3 witnesses were asked questions, and some of their answers were staggering. The 3 witnesses are of the highest standing in their fields, and in my opinion are incredibly brave, and in my opinion are heroes. And when this is all finished, I would like to see them recognised, rewarded with the highest possible awards and recognition for what they have done. So the first one of these 3, David Grush, he's a 36-year-old decorated former combat officer. He's a veteran of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, NGA, and also a leader of the NGA's UAP, Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Analysis. He's also a veteran of the National Reconnaissance Office, where during the period 2020 to 2021, he was the NRO's representative to the Pentagon's Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force, and became a Pentagon whistleblower. He also served as the Geospatial Agency's co-leader for the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Analysis between 2021 and 2022. When he recently came out as a Pentagon whistleblower, he claimed that the US has possession of intact and partially intact alien vehicles and vehicles of unknown origin. So we then come to Commander David Fravor. He's a retired US Navy commander and served as a commanding officer in the Strike Fighter Squadron 41, also known as the world famous Black Aces, which is the United States Navy Strike Fighter Squadron, which fly the FA-18F Super Hornet, and they are attached to the United States Navy aircraft carrier Air Wing 9. David Fravor famously reported seeing an UAP/UFO in 2004. And what is interesting about his testimony of how the craft seemed to fly was that it was almost identical to the way that Bob Lazar had described how he felt the craft probably flew whilst he was working for the US government many years before. Third and last one, but last but not least, we have Ryan Graves. He's a former Navy pilot who reported seeing UFOs/UAPs from 2014 to 2015. Ryan is a former Navy FA-18F pilot and TF-45C Goshawk instructor pilot, and he has a distinguished military career. He is currently the CEO and founder of Merge Point and host of the Merge podcast. Merge podcast is described as a radically open-minded exploration of unidentified aerial anonymous phenomena through the lens of pilots, scientists, and innovators. Ryan volunteers his time in service of the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics, where he serves as the first chair of the UAP Integration and Outreach Committee. Ryan has also claimed that he has seen unidentified aerial phenomena off the Atlantic coast every day for at least a couple of years. So the other key players are, first of all, we've got Nick Pope. He's the UK's UFO expert. Nick Pope is a freelance British journalist, media commentator, and former civil servant. Whilst an employee of the British government's Ministry of Defence, Pope was responsible, amongst other duties, for investigating the UFO phenomena to determine if they had any defence significance. So let's go back into the chat. And we got Ange B here. She says, "Good evening, Warren." Hi, Ange B. I hope that you're well. Hope you're having a great evening. Thanks for joining us. And David Dundas is saying the truth is out there. It certainly is, my friend. And hopefully tonight will help us get a bit closer to finding it out. And then Gavin O'Flaherty, Koguna, he says, "Crack, Warren." Same to you, my friend. I hope you're having a great evening. And thanks to coming in. And thanks to every single one of you who's watching this and who's joining the show. I'm really delighted to see you all, and I hope you're enjoying it. So then we have Congressman Tim Burchett. Timothy Floyd Burchett, born on the 25th of August 1964, is the U.S. Republican Party representative for Tennessee's 2nd Congressional District, based in Knoxville. Now, this fella, even me, I think he's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, look at that picture of him. He's got like 3 rifles sitting in his study there behind him. It just makes me laugh. It really does. And then we have U.S. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. Anna Paulina Luna, born on the 6th of May 1989, is the U.S. Republican Party representative from Florida's 13th Congressional District since 2023. She's the first Mexican-American woman elected to Congress from Florida. So Nat Leslie says, "Have a great show, Wazza, as always, mate." Thank you very much, Nat. That's lovely to hear. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming in. Gavin says, "Don't believe in aliens, but I know a few spacers around here." Fair play, mate. Fair play. Maybe I might be able to persuade you differently by the end of the show. Static says 10 likes and subscribe. Yeah, please, people. We're just coming to that now, actually. Please make sure you put a like on this video. Please make sure you subscribe to the Diesel Arsenal channel if you're new. Diesel talks about all sorts of things on his channel. He has me come on talking about things to do with the paranormal and conspiracy theories, or alternative theories, as I prefer to call them. And he also talks about football, mainly about Arsenal. He also talks about TV, life in general, all sorts of different things. So yeah, please make sure you go and check him out. He is, I believe, planning to do a show very, very soon about the show Top Boy, which I believe is available on Netflix. So make sure you check that out. I'm sure that'll be an absolute banger, because Diesel, when he gets going, there's no stopping him. He can talk for hours and hours and hours. And he just did a show just before I came on, talking about Arsenal's win over PSV, which was great. And yeah, it was brilliant. I love listening to Diesel talk. It's brilliant. Anyway, so also please come and check me out. Warren's Team Talk. Come and subscribe to my channel. Put likes on my video. On that channel, I talk about football in general, with special emphasis on Arsenal and Celtic. They're my 2 clubs that I support. Dominic Buckner says, "Love these shows. Keep them coming." I will do, my friend. I certainly will. Pepsi Pack says, and thank you very much, Dominic. Thank you for your kind words. Pepsi Pack says, hopefully it's Top Gear instead. Top Gear. No, not Top Gear, mate. But yeah, thanks ever so much. Right, so how did we get to this point? This is the big question, really. Well, one of the big questions. So it all started in June of this year. David Grush, a former intelligence official, shocked people around the world when he claimed the US government has possession of intact and partially intact alien vehicles. In a series of interviews, David Grush alleged that the US government and defence contractors have been recovering parts of craft and entire craft which are of unknown origin for decades, and that his claims are based upon interviews with high-level intelligence officials, and it is alleged that some of these craft are as large as a football field. He also claimed that information regarding these craft is being illegally withheld from Congress, and also that the US government had a crash retrieval program which had collected downed UFO craft, and that his investigation into that program was constantly blocked. I found a YouTube video of this TV interview which aired on the News Nation channel, which I'll make available to anyone who wishes to see it. Now, let's move on. Now, as a consequence, this led to the US Congress House Oversight Committee to order an investigation and hearing into what the government knows or doesn't know about UFOs. A few days before the hearing was due to start, Tim Burchett gave a furious press conference where he claimed that the investigation into David Grush's claims had been stonewalled by federal officials. He stated, "We had a heck of a lot of pushback about this hearing. There are a lot of people who don't want this to come to light." Burchett said, "We're going to get to the bottom of it. God damn it." I can't say that word. Dadgone damn it, or something like that. Whatever it's a typical South of the United States word, dadgone it, and dadgone damn it, or something, I don't know. Anyway, whatever the truth may be, we're done with the cover-up. After David Grush aired his claim, US Defense Department told the media outlet that aired his claims, News Nation, that he had not discovered any verifiable information to substantiate claims that any programs regarding the possession of reverse engineering or any extraterrestrial materials had existed in the past or exist currently. So let's move on. Right. So before we do move on to the next one, I've got Alien Attic is in the chat. So Alan Attic is in the chat. He says, "Big up, Warren," and the chat. Nice to see you, Alan. Thanks ever so much for coming in. Lovely to see you, my friend. I hope you're going to enjoy the show. And so let's look at the brief history of UFOs / UAP's involvement with planet Earth. So since the beginning of the time, there have been instances, if you study them deeply enough, you can see a possible alien / ET involvement perspective to them. Human beings have been on planet Earth somewhere in the region of 6 million years. However, humans that we would recognize as being modern humans appeared circa 200,000 years ago. Now, that image that you can see there is Stephen Hawking's, and that quote that he made is quite a famous one. It appears, part of it appears on a Pink Floyd song, and basically it says, "For millions of years, mankind lived just like the animals. Then something happened which unleashed the power of our imagination. We learned to talk and we learned to listen." Basically, and it goes on. But I'm not going to read all of it out, but that's the basic premise of it. Now, Professor Stephen Hawking said that human beings had lived like animals for millions of years, and then suddenly, 60,000 years ago, something happened which meant that humans took a huge evolutionary step forward. And curiously, no one has been able to explain why. Some postulate that humans had their DNA manipulated, or we were genetically engineered by some other unknown external force, which meant that the human species, after millions of years of unremarkable development, suddenly took a huge evolutionary step forward. Now, around the world, There are numerous cave paintings which appear to resemble or depict flying craft and or beings that do not appear to be human. As well as this, there are various myths and legends that have been passed down the eons which talk about visitors from the sky and interaction with the gods, including religious texts. For example, the ancient Inca god Viracocha is described as being a pale-skinned, bearded man with blonde hair. Now, to be honest, this deity sounds to me very much like a Nordic alien. Now, I'll explain more about the Nordic alien race a bit later when we talk about the various races that could be behind some of the craft that we're seeing. Now, moving forward to the modern era, since the end of World War II, there have been allegations that Nazi Germany had contact with extraterrestrials. And those who put forward this theory argue that this explains why the German scientists seem to be far superior to any other scientists from elsewhere in the world, and why their rocket technology was superior to anything else on our planet. At the end of World War II, it has been argued that is why the Americans launched Operation Paperclip, so they could get their hands on as many of the Nazi scientists as possible. Now, it also should be mentioned that the first recorded incident of a crash retrieval happened in Italy during the Second World War, when the Italians recovered a crashed alien craft. Now, I can't remember the exact year, but it happened in Italy. And at the end of the Second World War, that craft was claimed by the Americans. Now, so that, and in fact, one of the Nazi scientists that the Operation Paperclip allowed the Americans to get their hands on was the ex-Nazi scientist Werner von Braun, who ended up heading up NASA. In the middle of the last century, things seem to accelerate with regards to UFOs, particularly in 1945, when the United States of America detonated 2 nuclear weapons on Hiroshima and Nagasaki on the 6th of August 1945. And this seems to have sent out an alarm across the cosmos that the crazy hairless apes on planet Earth, as Joe Rogan once called us, have started using nuclear weapons. And since this time, the number and rate of reports of UFO activity seem to have gone through the roof. Now, on the 24th of June, 1947, Kenneth Arnold saw a formation of strange-looking craft, which he could only describe as flying saucers, and this incident brought in the term flying saucer into the human race's vocabulary. David Dundas, Gavin has said extra testicle. Go on, bro, just say it and get it out of the way. There you go. I've said it. I hope that made you laugh, buddy. Yeah, I've got a bit tongue-tied a few times, and it probably won't be the last time either. David Dundas says, I'm off to work, guys. Have a nice evening. You too, buddy. I hope you have a great day. I hope the weather's nice for you out there. You should be coming in towards the summer now, I'd have thought, out there. Static saying, have a great day, mate, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Static is saying 11 likes. So like and subscribe. Yeah, please, guys, make sure you do that. Thanks ever so much, Static, for keeping an eye on that. So let's move on. We spoke about Kenneth Arnold. So then the next thing was the Roswell incident. This was a famous incident which in July 1947, it is claimed that a craft of non-human origin crash landed in the desert in Roswell, New Mexico, and non-human entities were recovered from the craft, and the craft was recovered by the US military. Now, there has been since this time reports of abductions of humans by alien entities. Some of these seem to have been benign in nature, and others have been extremely disturbing. Probably the most famous of these abductions is the Travis Walton case. This is the case where an American forestry worker, Travis Walton, disappeared for 5 days and 6 hours, and it is alleged he was abducted by aliens. Now, this case is really interesting one because he and all his colleagues took lie detector tests, which they all passed. Right? They also, Travis also, I believe, went through a hypnosis session, and he was able to recount everything that happened to him whilst he was on board the alien craft. So, for me, it's as like concrete a case you're going to find, really. But still, there you go. It is claimed that in 1954, US President Eisenhower met with aliens on 3 occasions at Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico. There also have been numerous cases of animals that have been mutilated, which it is believed have been going on since at least the mid-1960s all over the world. The strange thing about these cases is that invariably the poor animals have been found drained of blood, some with their organs missing or body parts removed, but with no trace of any blood. It is almost as if they've been drained of blood. Often the animals who have suffered these attacks are cattle, but often other animals have been victims too, such as sheep, horses, goats, pigs, rabbits, cats, dogs, bison, deer, and elk. And in the mid-1980s, a very brave young guy by the name of Bob Lazar came out, and he told the world they had been working in a secret American base trying to engineer a retrieved crashed alien spacecraft, and many of the claims that he made has since been proven to be true. And interestingly, he described the way that he believed that one of the crafts that he was working on, he described how he thought it would have worked and how it would have flown. And interestingly, it's exactly the same. The way he described that he believed it would have flown is exactly the same way that Commander David Fravor in the congressional hearing described how he saw the craft move. So for me, that's really, really interesting. And there have also been claims that the world governments, as well as having retrieved crashed alien spacecraft, have retrieved bodies of non-human origin, which came out of the retrieved crash craft. Let me just put this lamp on. It's a bit dark. So yeah, that's better. So there have been claims that the world's government, as well as having retrieved crashed alien spacecraft, have also retrieved bodies of non-human origin, which came out of the crashed craft. Now, also, Bob Lazar did actually claim that one of the craft that he was working on came into the ownership of the United States through the result of a archaeological dig. So it was ancient, was the word he used to describe it. Now, on the 19th of October 2017, Oumuamua was the first interstellar object detected passing through the solar system. And whilst it was here, it displayed some extremely strange and interesting characteristics. For example, when it started to leave our solar system, it appeared to accelerate. And one of the world's current leading theoretical physicists, who works on astrophysics and cosmology at Harvard University, went on record as saying that there was a probability that it was an alien probe. Then on the 26th of January 2021, Avi Loeb, who is a theoretical physicist, and he's the guy that thought that it was a possibility that Oumuamua was an alien probe. Published a book entitled Extraterrestrial, the First Sign of Intelligent Life Beyond Earth, in which he discussed that Oumuamua might be an alien probe. So, guys, please make sure you hit that like button for Diesel and I. It really helps Diesel to make sure his videos get pushed out by YouTube. I can't tell you how important that is. It really, really is important. So make sure you do that. And also, please make sure you subscribe to his channel if you haven't done so already. And as I said before, he talks about lots of different things on his channel. He talks about Arsenal Football Club. He talks about life in general. He also talks about things to do with TV. And in fact, soon he's thinking about doing a stream about a TV show called Top Boy, which is available to watch, I believe, on Netflix. So you'll get lots and lots of different types of content on his channel, as well as me coming on talking about paranormal, conspiracy theories, stuff like that. So yeah, make sure you sign up to it, because you won't get many channels who will mix it up the way that he does. Also, make sure you come and subscribe to my channel, Warren's Team Talk. On that channel, I talk about football in general, with a bit of an emphasis on Arsenal Football Club and Celtic Football Club. And I do a lot of stuff about history of football and stuff on there as well. Let's just quickly get into the chats. And also, the other thing I do on there is every Saturday on Warren's Team Talk, I have a show which starts at 2:30, and I follow all of the action in the football matches that kick off at 3:00 in the afternoon. That's always a bit of light-hearted fun and banter. And so if you enjoy that sort of thing, just come along and join in. It's great fun and we have a great laugh. So anyway, to the chat, Static is saying, Warren, no worries. This is absolutely fascinating to watch. I'm really enjoying this. Good. I'm glad, mate, because for me, it's a fascinating subject. I've been into this subject since I was a 5-year-old boy, and I absolutely love it. Static says lie detector test, another tongue twister. Yeah, mate, I love tongue twisters. I must be a glutton for punishment. Jay Green's Gary McKinnon also exposed the FBI. Yeah, he certainly did, my friend. Yeah, he did a great job with that. Static said 12 likes, like and subscribe. Yeah, Jay, thanks ever so much for coming in. It's lovely to see you, and I hope you're enjoying the show. And Static's put in laughing emojis. Yeah, I have real problems with tongue twisters, mate. It's not my favourite thing. Anyway, let's move on. So we're going to talk about the planet Earth Space Forces. Now, since roughly 2015, many countries have active space forces as part of their militaries. And the United States Space Force has 5 responsibilities, which are provide freedom of operation for the United States in, from, and to space, provide prompt and sustained space operations, protect the interests of the United States in space, deter aggression in, from, and to space, and conduct space operations. And it should be pointed out that most countries in the world now have something resembling a space force. For example, the following countries have space forces: China, UK, Russia, France, Iran, Spain, Australia, Canada, Italy, Mexico, NATO, Peru, South Korea, Brazil, Germany, Holland, and Japan. And all of those little crests that you can see next to the big one in the middle from the United States, all the different countries are all different logos of the different countries' space forces. So that just gives you an idea of how many there are. So it's a global phenomenon. And most of them have the same sort of remits as the American one does. So now we're going to talk about what I believe are the main alien races. So first of all, the grey aliens. The greys are the most commonly reported alien species that seems to interact with us humans, and there appear to be two types of grey alien. One is the commonly known small 3-foot tallish creature, which are commonly grey-skinned humanoids, roughly 1 meter, 3.3 feet tall. They're hairless with large heads, black almond-shaped eyes, nostrils, and but some don't have nostrils and don't have a nose. They have a slit for a mouth, but again, some don't have a mouth. They don't have ears, and they have 3 or 4 fingers, including the thumb. The Greys have been the predominant extraterrestrial being of alleged alien contact since the 1960s. Bob Lazar claimed that the recovered craft that he had worked on belonged to the Grey species, which he alleged came from a binary star system called Zeta Reticuli, which is in the constellation of Reticulum in the southern sky and is approximately 39.3 light years from Earth. Now, it's also believed that this alien species may be an AI species and or a slave race of another alien civilization. There is also a much taller grey type civilization, probably closer to the height of humans, than the Nordics. Then you heard me talk about Nordics before and the god Viracocha. Now they are humanoids with stereotypical Aryan Nordic features, tall blonde hair, blue eyes, and are featured in several cases of contact. It is claimed that they come from the Pleiades constellation. It is believed that they are between 6 to 7 feet tall, and contacts with the Nordics often involve claims of telepathy, benevolence, and physical beauty, and they are the most commonly associated with spiritual growth and love, and act as protectors for those who've experienced contact with extraterrestrials. They are commonly described as being benevolent or even magical beings who want to observe and communicate with humans and are concerned about our welfare and the Earth's ecology or prospects for world peace. And they seem to have a paternal attitude towards us and often appear as watchful, smiling, affectionate, and youthful. They've been known to come to humans in their dreams or when they are meditating. And this is the race that I know is real because I know a few people who have had interactions with them. This is the race that I was discussing earlier, like I said, when I was talking about the Inca god Viracocha, because he's described as being blonde-haired with a beard and had appeared to have high technological knowledge. Now, the tall whites, there's a lot of confusion between the tall whites and the Nordics, and people tend to get confused between the two of them because they are so similar. They are an upright bipedal humanoid species which are typically described as being tall, anything between 6 and 10 foot tall, and normally quite thin and frail, and have a chalk white skin color. It is believed that their lifespan is usually 10 times that of ours, and they can live for anything up to 800 Earth years. And at this stage, they can be anything up to 9-10 feet tall. It's been reported they have many human-type characteristics and can easily pass themselves off as humans. It is believed that they may have come from the Arcturus star system, which is approximately 36 light years from Earth and is part of the constellation of Boötes. They are very friendly towards humans, but can appear arrogant to us at times, and then have a tendency to look on us as children or their pets. Right, before we go on any further, let's see what else is going on. Ange B is in the chat and she's saying very interesting. Thank you, Ange. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. I've really enjoyed putting this show together because, like I said, it's been a massive passion of mine since I was a small child. Okay, so the next one is the reptilians and reptiloids. These are tall, scaly humanoids. Reptilian humanoid beings date back at least as far as ancient Egypt, with the crocodile-headed river god Sobek, and possibly way further than this, and they may have had a link with the dinosaurs that populated planet Earth millions of years ago. It is alleged that they originate from the Draco and Orion star systems. There are some reports which suggest that they have a strong dislike for humans, which seems to stem from the extinction of the largely reptilian dinosaurs on planet Earth 65 million years ago, which the reptilians, although they accept the fact the extinction event was caused by an asteroid impact, they believe that this asteroid impact was not an accident and was caused by humans so that they could claim planet Earth for themselves once the dust had settled, so to speak, after the impact. Many experts have hypothesized that the dinosaurs if the dinosaurs had not been wiped out, that an intelligent reptilian species would have rose to become the dominant species on planet Earth. And as a consequence, many reptilians hold a significant grudge and hatred towards humans, as they regard planet Earth as being a reptilian planet. There is also a theory that the Greys are a slave race of the reptilians, and that the Greys do the reptilians' bidding in their contact with planet Earth. So, then the question is then, is it a case that what we are seeing and experiencing are merely visitors from other planets, or is there another explanation? Well, there is, and in fact there are a few different explanations as to what it is that we are experiencing, and these are as follows. Ultra-terrestrials. Now, the ultra-terrestrials are an alien race that isn't really alien. In fact, they originate from Earth, just like us humans, but their civilization is so much older and more advanced than ours, they have no trouble hiding from us. This theory comes from John Keel's 1970 book, Operation Trojan Horse, in which he claims that the UFOs, supernatural phenomena like the Mothman and religious narratives, imply the activity of an almighty high-energy being coexisting with humans on Earth. Ultra-terrestrials, some believe, live inside the hollow Earth or the lost continent of Atlantis, or the place which acted as the inspiration for Plato's story. So that's the ultra-terrestrials. Now, time travelers from planet Earth's past or future. Yes, I did say past. No, I'm not making a mistake. There are those who believe that the development of civilization of Earth has not gone on a straight linear progression. Now, on a few occasions, there have been civilizations on Earth which have reached an extremely high level, and then for one reason or another, they collapsed, regressed to a primitive level, or were just simply wiped out. One such example is the Great Flood myths, which seemingly every single civilization has a version of. There is a theory that the phenomena we are seeing in our skies currently is a civilization from the planet's distant past or future. Alternative reality travelers. Now, this is a theory that states there are an indefinite amount of universes and that we live in just one of them, and that every time we make a decision, there is an alternate version of us who has made a different decision to the one that we took. It is alleged that the things that we are experiencing currently are entities visiting us from one of these other realities. 4. Interdimensional travelers. So, this is the idea that these craft and entities that we are seeing are visiting us from different dimensions. For example, currently we live in a 3-dimensional world and we can only see things in 3 dimensions, which means that we are not able to see things in 4 dimensions, 5 dimensions, 6 dimensions, or more. And this would explain why the craft that we are seeing are seemingly able to appear and disappear at will and without trace. For example, our world's defense agencies, it is reported, are not tracing objects traveling to or from the planet. So, to be clear about this, interdimensional stuff, if we were living in a 2D world and a red ball traveling through our world was traveling through our world and was a 3D ball, we would not see a ball as a person who lives in a 3D world would see it. We would see an expanded red circle, and then as it passed through our 2D world, it would gradually start to shrink. So it would mean that because we can only perceive the things which are in a 3D way, it might mean that there are biological and intellectual limitations to our perceptions of reality, meaning that we would not be able to perceive the things that were in 4D, 5D, or 6D or more, for example. If these craft and entities that we are seeing are interdimensional travelers or from alternative realities on this planet, it might be that they are becoming increasingly concerned with the seemingly fragile nature of our reality, given the way that we seem to fall into wars so easily and the way that we are dabbling with technologies that could easily blow up the world several times over. And this would explain why they seem so interested in our nuclear technology. And last but not least, crypto-terrestrials. Now, this is a theory put forward by a guy named Mac Tonys, in which he suggests that there is a humanoid species indigenous to the Earth, a sister race that has adapted to our numerical superiority by developing a surprisingly robust technology. It is believed that the accounts of people seeing the little people could be this species, in the belief that we represent our planet's best and brightest. Who knows? And that may be exactly what they want us to think. Other issues. It might also be that we are being manipulated on a global scale for an agenda that is completely unknown to us, we have no concept of, and is impossible for us to understand. And that they are coming to us or communicating with us when we are in altered states of consciousness or realities, such as dreams or in a meditative state or trance. Let us consider just in modern times alone, we've been experiencing this phenomena for circa 100 years. And if we are to believe the world's power brokers, we are no nearer to getting any answers to any of the big questions, such as who are they? Why are they here? Where are they from? What is their interest in us and our planet? Is there a timeline to all of this? And what is their ultimate objective? Terence McKenna once said that we are part of a symbiotic relationship with something that disguises itself as an extraterrestrial invasion so as not to scare us. Now, when I stop and think about that statement for me is absolutely terrifying. The fact that they come in here and disguising themselves as an alien invasion or extraterrestrial invasion, not to scare us. I mean, an extraterrestrial invasion would be terrifying enough. But so what else is it then? There is a belief in the UFO community that at some point in the near future, there will be a false flag alien invasion. And some believe that the recent COVID pandemic was a dress rehearsal for this, to test out how easy it would be for the world's governments to implement severe restrictions on our movements, interactions, and civil liberties. For me personally, I believe that the actual solution to this phenomena is far more complex and multi-layered than merely entities visiting us from other planets. A guy called John Lear stated years ago in his book Operation Trojan Horse that he did not believe that extraterrestrials were visitors from other planets, but were rather interdimensional visitors, time travelers, crypto travelers, ultra terrestrials, and alternative reality travelers. So, if they are visitors from other planets, how are they doing this? Given that most advanced civilizations would likely be multiple light years away from us, and the most likely explanation for this would be that they have found a way to use gravitational engines to warp space and time, therefore making distances irrelevant. So let's get back into the chat. Taib saying, hi, Warren. Hi, Taib. Nice to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a great evening. Thanks for coming over. Gavin saying, 5, the Watchers and other fallen angels. Yep, it could be them as well. Steve RSA is saying, big up. Big up to you as well, my friend. I hope you're good. Thanks for coming and watching. Static saying 13 likes. So like and subscribe. Yeah, people, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. And I know that Diesel would as well. Steve RFC says, I watched Bayern Man United game. So how did Arsenal play, and who was Arsenal's best player, and was Arsenal goalkeeper quiet? I went 1-1, Sevilla Lons. That was the only UCL prediction I got correct. Oh, fair play to him, buddy. I don't know because I didn't see the game. Unfortunately, I had an early night, so I didn't see any of it. So, but fair play. Thanks very much. So, what is the implications for us on planet Earth of contact with alien civilizations, good and bad? Now, this is just my opinion. It's not anything that I've found from anyone else. It's just what I think. The good points is that we'd become part of a galactic community. It would bring us as a planet closer together. President Reagan gave a speech once at the UN about a threat from an alien civilization and how it could bring us all closer together and help us to get rid of our petty disagreements and help us work together as a unified force. And that is probably the only time I ever agree with anything he said, because I think that is what would happen. We'd get access to free energy. Would there be access to huge advancements in science, technology, and medicine, meaning that cures could be found for diseases and debilitating conditions such as strokes, heart attacks, disabilities, and these problems would be consigned to history, including problems with aging, etc. The opportunities to be able to travel and explore easily throughout our galaxy. For example, taking a tour around the rings of Saturn for the afternoon or visit the Orion Nebula would easily be achievable. The ability to easily cure our planet's problems, such as global warming, the poisoning of the oceans, the rainforests, and affording the same opportunities that are enjoyed currently by a small group of elites would become available to all of human civilization. Now, the bad side. We would open ourselves up to potentially aggressive alien species who would want to wipe us out, lead to divisions on our own planet amongst those who are happy to be part of a galactic community of civilizations, and those who would prefer to remain isolated. Similar in a way, I suppose you could say, to the debate that the UK had recently about the European Union, but on a larger scale. So, what was actually discussed at the congressional hearings? So, first of all, the three witnesses all had to swear on oath, which means that if they gave false information and it was proven that they had lied, they would be imprisoned. David Grush was asked by Representative Tim Burchett whether he had faced any retaliation or reprisals for any of his testimonies, and he informed the hearing that there was an open whistleblower reprisal investigation on his behalf, and he needed to be careful what he said in case he compromised the investigation. But he did say that it was very brutal and hurt him both personally and professionally. He also claimed that after being questioned, he was personally aware of people who had been harmed or injured in an effort to cover up or conceal ET technologies, and he directed people who had knowledge of people being murdered for this reason to the appropriate authorities. David Grush agreed to meet with the Congress people involved with this hearing in a private, secure, and confidential environment described in the hearing as a SCIF, which is sensitive SCIF, which is SCIF, sensitive compartmented information facility, to discuss this issue further. So, the three witnesses were then asked whether, based upon their experiences on observation, whether the UFOs pose a threat to the United States national security. Commander David Fravor said yes, that's that gentleman there. He said yes, and he went on to say, and here is why. The technology that they had faced was far superior to anything we have. If you had one and was able to reverse engineer one and you got it to work, then you are talking about something that can go into space, go someplace, drop down in a matter of seconds, do whatever it wants and leave, and there's nothing we can do about it. Nothing. Ryan Graves explains, Ryan Graves then added, from a commercial or military aviation perspective, it is very important to us to be able to identify friends from foes. And so when we have unidentified targets that we continue to ignore due to a stigma or fear of what it could be, that is something that our adversaries can take advantage of. A question was then asked: what steps should be taken to better understand UAP/UFO encounters in the interests of national security? Ryan Graves stated that there needs to be a location where this information is centralized for processing, and there needs to be a two-way communication loop so that operators on the front end have a feedback mechanism and can get best practice advice on how to process information, what to do, and ensure their reporting is being listened to. Unfortunately, at the moment, there is not a lot of back and forth. David Grush was then asked that he had claimed in his complaint to the Intelligence Committee Inspector General that information was being hidden, and what information was being hidden, and should it remain hidden. He responded by saying that he was not able to speak about this in an unclassified manner because of his complaint to the Intelligence Committee was classified. So, listen, guys, please do yourselves a favor. Make sure you subscribe to Diesel's channel, Diesel Arsenal. He did a stream just before I came on when he was talking about Arsenal's win over PSV in the Champions League yesterday. Make sure you go and watch that and subscribe to it. And that was a short one for Diesel, and it went on for nearly an hour. And normally when he comes on, he can go on for hours and hours. It's just unbelievable. And it isn't boring, not by any stretch of the imagination. When you're watching him, time just seems to be completely irrelevant. It's absolutely superb. He has no script. He just goes on and talks and talks and talks. Not like me. I've got a script here that I'm reading from because there's no way that I'm going to be able to remember everything I'm telling you. Not these, although it is incredible the way he does it. He does stuff about film, TV, life in general, and he has me come on talking about the paranormal and conspiracy theories, things like that. Because it's a big passion of Diesel's as well as mine. And also he talks about Arsenal Football Club too, another big passion of mine and his. So yeah, make sure you do yourself a favor and come and subscribe to his channel, put likes on his videos. Also, make sure you come and subscribe to my channel as well, which is Warren's Team Talk. I talk on that channel about football in general. I also I put a big emphasis on that channel on Arsenal and Celtic football clubs, and I also do stuff about history, football history and things. So make sure you come and check that out. Also on a Saturday, I have a show, a bit like Soccer Saturday, where I follow the all the drama and excitement of the 3:00 kickoffs in the football across the United Kingdom. So make sure you come and check that out. It's always a great laugh and a lot of excitement. Anyway, so moving on. The Navy pilots claimed that what they had seen was not of this earth. Ryan Graves was asked how he knew that the objects he had seen were not our aircraft. He responded by saying that because some of the behaviours that they exhibited, for example, he claimed that they were able to remain completely motionless despite being in Category 4 hurricane force winds and then move off almost instantaneously at extremely high supersonic speed, such as Mach 1 or Mach 1.2, with very erratic and quick behavior. And he went on to say that he doesn't have any explanation for how they were able to do this. Ryan also stated in response to be questioned that he had spoken to commercial and military pilots who had seen these objects off the east coast of the United States of America. Ryan Graves also described a UAP/UFO, which he encountered in 2014, and he described it as being a black cube inside a clear sphere, and it was estimated be between 5 and 15 foot in diameter. And I've attempted to draw that there for you. So you can see like a circle, and inside there's like a black cube. So just so you have some idea of what he's talking about. Commander Fravor said that the performance of the craft was what impressed him the most about their flight capabilities. He added that he was not aware of any other vehicles anywhere on this planet that have these capabilities, and that the science used to fly these craft was way beyond anything that we currently possess. And he was not aware of any other reconnaissance recording tracking systems that may have tried to record these vehicles, such as NORAD. David Grosh said that he was aware that the United States government had been aware of non-human intelligence and of unknown origin since at least the 1930s. He also stated that he would be able to discuss in a private, secure, non-public environment and get details of the locations where crashed UFOs were taken and details of the crash retrieval programs and how it is that they have been able to avoid scrutiny for so long and when they started. Representative Tim Burchett also claimed that he and two other representatives were turned away and denied access to these programs at US Air Force, Eglin Air Force Base. David Grush stated, as far as he was aware, that there was nothing above top secret level or above special access programs classification, which means that there is, as I understand it, no reason that the US Congress should be denied access to these types of programs. Representative Tim Burchett asked which private organizations are involved in these programs and how much US taxpayer money has been invested into the programs. He also reported an issue and frustrations with the US Pentagon. He claimed that in the last 5 years since he has been in the US Congress, they've been audited every year, and every year they have failed the audit. And in addition, they have lost in excess of $1 billion US every year. And he also claimed that over 60% of Department of Defense's assets are unaccounted for. I've personally heard from other sources, this is me talking, that that these figures are much higher and that the amount of missing money is closer to $4 billion US, which I find absolutely staggering. David Grush stated in a recent televised interview on the News Nation media outlet that he was aware of a multi-decade public disinformation program with the aim of denying knowledge of the UAP/UFO phenomenon. In the same News Nation interview, David Grush reported that the US government have recovered dead alien bodies from crashed alien craft. And he also, when asked, stated that he would not be able to discuss whether the US government had made contact with extraterrestrial non-human civilizations. However, he did report that non-human bodies were recovered from crashed craft. He also informed the hearing that he would be able to provide lists of people who would need to be brought into the next hearing. Ryan Graves stated that he believed that only 5% of Ryan Graves stated that he believed that only 5% of UFO sightings were reported, and Commander Fravor said that he had never seen anything move like the UFO that he had contact with, and the way it moved defied all the laws of physics as we know them. Many people have claimed that the UFOs were merely advanced secret aircraft being tested, but Commander Fravor stated that he did not believe this to be the case, as we had test ranges for this purpose, and he did not make a habit of testing secret aircraft in close proximity to multi-million-dollar aircraft currently in service without informing the relevant personnel, including the pilots. So here we go. So we've got more comments in here. Steve RFC saying, I'm looking forward to North London Derby and Madrid Derby on Sunday. Yep, so am I, mate. So am I. Ange B says, brilliant game captain Odegaard, POTM, and Raya did well. I don't know because I didn't see the game, Ange, but I'll take your word for it. Harry Callahan says aliens have been on Earth for thousands of years. Yep, I completely agree with you, mate. That's what I think too. But nice to see you, my friend. I hope that you're well. Thanks for joining in the discussion. Static says 14 likes. Like and subscribe, please. Yeah, keep me up to date, Static, on how it's moving. Thanks ever so much for doing that, mate. I'm really pleased to hear that. Steve RSC, watching diesel videos make me happy. I have a good time watching. There you go. See, Steve's telling us how he feels when he's watching them, and that's how I feel too. They're great entertainment. Harry Callahan says, if you want to find out about aliens, search up Dolores Cannon. Thank you very much, my man. We'll do. We'll have a look at that. Static says 15 likes, like and subscribe. Good man. Keep it coming, guys. Keep it coming. Okay, so Representative Matt Gates was made aware of an incident at Eglin Air Force Base involving a UFO, and he was asked to attend after receiving something called a protected disclosure. And he saw a briefing regarding the incident, and he was initially denied access to any of the evidence taken by the flight crew or any of the flight crew and radar signature. Eventually, after a discussion, he was given access to one of the flight crew and an image. Matt Gates said that he was not able to identify it as being anything that he recognized as being from this world. The pilot, Matt Gates, was allowed to speak to, told him that they saw 4 craft in a diamond formation and an orb, as well as seeing a radar sequence for this. And when he approached the orb, his radar went down and his flare system malfunctioned, and he had to manually take the image manually from one of his lenses. Commander Fravor backed up the congressman's story of what the pilot had experienced. And he said that these craft are able to turn up and disable functions in United States Air Force aircraft. Congressman Gates said he was told by the pilot that he meant that if they saw a UFO, that they believed the best thing for them to do was to ignore it. When asked, the 3 witnesses said it was possible that the UFOs were collecting reconnaissance information, probing the US's capabilities, and testing the US's defense systems for vulnerabilities. They then all followed this up by saying that the UFOs pose an existential threat to the United States of America. Commander Fravor and Ryan Graves both said they did not believe that with their aircraft they would have had the ability to defend themselves had their encounters with the UFOs become hostile. All 3 of them said that they were confident that the UAPs were interested in the United States nuclear technology capabilities. Mr. Ogles, representative, stated that there was clearly a threat to the national security of the United States, and Congress had a responsibility to maintain oversight of these activities, and recommended to the chairperson of the committee that Mr. Grosh speak to the committee in a secure, private, and confidential environment, SCIF, which is a sensitive compartmented information facility, and that they also demand access to all the relevant bodies, people, and if access is denied, then Mr. Ogles stated that he would initiate the Holman Rule against any persons or organizations that denies access to Congress. So this is the Holman rule. Basically, the Holman rule means that it can reduce the salaries of Pacific federal employees, fire Pacific federal employees, and cut specific programs. For those that are, for example, if any of these organizations or people provide blockages to the US Congress and what they're trying to do here. Ryan Grace confirmed that the Federal Aviation Administration currently does not have an official process for reporting UFO from pilots to others. Ryan Grace also gave advice as to what information data should be collected in reports that aren't already being collected. Unfortunately, I didn't understand what these were because the language was way too technical for me. But Mr. Grosh told the committee he would tell them in a non-public secure environment SCIF where to look for the information. Commander Fravor said that it was important to know where to look because they would not reveal it to you because of the security classification levels involved. So, Steve RFC is saying, been good live stream. Thank you, Steve. It's really kind. Static Sam, we got 15 likes. Please like and subscribe. Yep, please, guys, keep smashing that like button up. Right, so now we're going to talk about what happened after the committee and the post-committee comments, discussions, observation. So Congressman Tim Burchett tried to pass legislation that would require that every time an airline pilot reported something of an anomalous nature to the FAA, the report should also be forwarded to Congress. But this was blocked by the Intelligence Committee. Think about this, right? If we had the technology of being able to travel, this is what Tim Burchett said. If we had the technology of being able to travel several light years, this would end wars because oil would become redundant. And he's right, it would. Investigative reporter George Knapp has reported that the United States is not the only country in the world to have had the types of experiences with UFOs. For these types of experiences with UFOs, for example, Russia has engaged with UFOs. George Knapp reported that he had heard that by 1993, Russia had engaged with UFOs on at least 45 different occasions. It was reported that at least 3 other witnesses had pulled out of the hearing because they'd been pressurized into not testifying. Tim Burchett said that over half of Americans believe that we are not alone in the universe, and in God's great, wonderful universe, I can't believe that we are the best that He can do. Right. So, moving on. Please make sure you subscribe to Diesel Arsenal channel if you haven't already done so. Please hit that like button. Diesel's channel is absolutely banging, let me tell you. He talks about Arsenal, he talks about life in general, he talks about TV, films, all sorts of weird and wonderful things, including having me on talking about weird and wonderful things like UFOs, or like who was Jack the Ripper, or what happened with that night that Lady Diana Spencer died, or talking about Epstein, or all sorts of weird and wonderful things. So, and yeah, make sure you do that. He's talking about doing a stream soon about the TV show Top Boy. So make sure you keep your eyes open for that, because I'm sure that's going to be an absolute banger. Also, please come and check me out. I do a show on my channel, Warren's Team Talk, every Saturday. Starts at 2:30, when I keep an eye on all the different football matches that go on up and down the country. All the 3:00 kickoffs. It's always a good laugh and a good bit of banter. So it's one of my favourite shows on my channel, to be honest. I really enjoy doing that. And I'll be doing it again this Saturday. 2:30 kickoff for that. Also, please make sure that you put likes on all my videos and share the content around. I talk about Arsenal Football Club, Celtic Football Club. I do some videos about the history of football and stuff on there too. So come and check it out. And currently, I'm interviewing other fans as well, talking about their lives as football fans. So that's been great. That's been really, really interesting for me. So I hope that you find it interesting too. Anyway, so Nick Pope said that Russia, China, and the UK have programs looking at the UAP UFO issue. He also reported that the UAP UFOs seem very interested in Earth's nuclear weapons, plants, etc. For example, he reported that there have been reports of nuclear missiles being powered down and also being put into their pre-launch sequence, and we were powerless to stop them. Nick Pope also stated that he heard reports of attempted shoot-downs of UFOs from various countries. In Peru, they managed to offload several rounds against a UFO, but they were simply absorbed by the UFO and they did absolutely no damage to them at all. He reported that there had been a number of UFO sightings over nuclear plants, silos, etc., and there had been an incident at Maelstrom base in Montana, United States, when a UFO appeared over the facility and the nuclear weapons went offline. In another incident in the then Soviet Union, an intercontinental ballistic missile silo, a UFO appeared over the base and performed aerial maneuvers which far exceeded human-built aircraft. Anything a human-built aircraft can do, leaving eyewitnesses stunned, and then took control of some nuclear weapons which were aimed at the United States and initiated the ICBM's launch system. And then the UFO fired up the missiles before entering the launch control codes, which are only known by a very, very small group of people. And extremely worrying, it seems that the personnel working at the base were completely powerless to stop this from happening. And let's not forget, had these missiles been launched, it would, without a shadow of a doubt, spark World War III from starting, with the destruction of the planet being the outcome. However, thankfully, just as quickly as the UFOs appeared, they disappeared and their hold on the system went with them. And this is fact. This actually happened. This is not a fantasy or a story. And this incident I find extremely, extremely disturbing and really worrying, because at the flick of a switch, they've just come in, done what they want, like got as far as they possibly could without actually launching these things into the launch sequence, and then been like one stage away from actually launching them, with the outcome being the destruction of our planet. I just find it terrifying. However, in response to the terrifying events, the Russian Defense Ministry then apparently issued an order which banned its military from interfering with the UFOs. Nick Pope also said that it was extremely important that things like this are declassified, and he reported that moving forward, this will be one of the things that will be in Chuck Schumer's amendment to the new defense bill. Nick Pope also stated that there are vehicles which are known as trans-medium travel objects, as it seems they are able to travel seamlessly between space, air, and water with seemingly no difficulty. In David Grush's famous TV interview, which aired on News Nation at the beginning of July, he reported that there were servicemen and women who had been injured or killed by the UFOs. I'll make sure that the link for that interview is available if you'd all like to see it. Now, not Nick Pope, also said it's also interesting to note that Ryan Graves reported that he and his colleagues had seen these UFO objects on the eastern seaboard of the United States on almost a daily basis. The Pentagon has an office which is supposed to be investigating the UFO phenomena, and it is known as AERO. The All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office is an office within the United States Office of the Secretary of Defense that investigates unidentified flying objects and other phenomena in the air, sea, and/or space and on land, sometimes referred to as unidentified aerial phenomena or unidentified anomalous phenomena. And its director is physicist Sean Kirkpatrick. However, AERO doesn't appear to have a telephone number, website, or email address, and its Twitter account, which was set up in July 2022, has only posted one tweet since it was launched. There is an organization that was set up to investigate the UFO phenomena issues and hearing from witnesses. If it is serious about wanting proactively to do this, then it's not sending out a message that is serious with this behaviour. It is interesting to note that the director of AERO, Sean Kirkpatrick, went on the offensive after the hearing by issuing a statement defending AERO and its staff. Right. So Static is informing me that there's 16 likes and like and subscribe. Yeah, please, people, let's get it up. Angie's saying, thank you, Warren. Great show and always welcome on the All Arsenal show back in October. Okay, I'll remember that. Thank you, Anne. And Gavin saying, is that the name of the page? Ange B? Mr. Arsenal Podcast. Thank you, Ange B. I'll make a note of that later. I'll put it up here for the time being. Cheers, Ange B, says Gavin. Ryan does watch-alongs and last night's was brilliant. Yeah, I can imagine it was. Hope to see you, Gavin, she says. Just subbed, so I'll be tuning in. Static, keep hitting the likes and subscribe button, everyone. Ange B, brilliant. Harry Callahan says, Warren, there are army helicopters following a UFO above Lantrassant Forest 2 a.m. in the morning in 2016, only about 3 miles from my home. I was watching a documentary about it on TV. I was shocked. Yeah, it is shocking. It really is. All this stuff about UFOs I find really disturbing. Gavin says, if I keep hitting the likes and sub button, I'll end up unsubbing and not liking the stream. No, Static. That's really funny, Gavin. I really like that. So, let's move on. Right, so what's next? Okay, so let's get into this. This is, there it gets a bit, where I might start getting a bit agitated. There are calls for more hearings with more witnesses, as it seems to be something that the US public want definitive answers to, and is clearly a massive national security issue for the whole planet. There were also calls for the next hearing to have people organisations testifying who have to be subpoenaed to testify. However, there appears to be significant pushback from the US Defense Department and sections of the intelligence community who do not want their dirty linen being aired in public. David Grush has raised serious allegations, and some of a criminal nature and fraudulent behaviour, including the misappropriation of public funds and theft, as well as the US Senate and President of the United States having been lied to. David Grush's allegations in his TV interview have, it seems, led to discussions on both sides of the House about the need for restoring transparency and accountability in Congress and restoring Congress's control and oversight of these programs to make sure that they comply with the congressional requirements. Nick Pope revealed that there is more to come because the NASA report is due next month in September and there will be more hearings. Now, the NASA report has come out and I'll be talking about that in a little while, and I am not happy. However, Mike Turner, who is the Intelligence Committee chairman, conferred with the Oversight chairman and has come out and said no more UFO hearings because it might embarrass the Department of Defense. What? It should be remembered Mike Turner is the representative for Dayton, Ohio, which is home to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and a large amount of the campaign funding that he receives comes from the large aerospace companies. So you have to ask yourself the question, is this a coincidence? Because I do not think it is. Also, remember, there are very powerful forces in Washington and the Pentagon who do not want this stuff coming out. In my opinion, this is an absolutely disgusting and despicable act. And if I was an American citizen, I'd be absolutely outraged and be demanding that those responsible be removed from office and placed in jail. It is my strong belief that governments are there to serve the will of the people and keep us safe and free, and that they serve us, we do not serve them. What happened to a government for all, a government for and of the people? It seems that the US Senate and US Congress is nothing more than a body to give the impression that the US is a democracy, when in reality it isn't. And its true leaders and power brokers are the US Defense Department and the military-industrial complex. The National Defense Authorization Act of 2020-24 will even have even stronger UFO provisions, including eminent domain, so that the government can take back anything that has found its way into the private sector. It is likely that if the United States government does not officially reveal all the facts, it will do this using a slow drip effect release rather than doing it all in one go. Allegedly, the United States government will use the example of COVID as to why they have to release stuff slowly, because there is a fear in government circles there will be a high risk of mass confusion, and this could lead to panic, as it did with COVID. And it is important for the government to be seen to remain in control, because when people, media, government, health authorities or organizations panic, they don't make good decisions and communicate poorly. Aero has come in for heavy criticism, which from what I have heard is completely justified. Aero was set up over a year ago when its website was launched. It crashed and its Twitter/X account was set up. And since its Twitter/X account was set up, the only post on its page was on the day that it was set up to announce its launch. The Aero head has made bizarre, contradictory comments, such as the fact there is no evidence of any non-human entities interacting with the planet Earth, despite the testimony of the three witnesses who gave these testimonies on oath. meaning they could be sent to jail if it was proven they had lied. Right. So Gavin is saying, message for everyone, laugh out loud, says Static. It's funny. Warren, I have to go in 5 minutes. Excellent show. Thank you very much, Static. I'm glad that you've enjoyed it. There's not much longer to go. It's a few, but another 5 or 6 topics, and then I'll be finishing. Gavin says, I'm only joking, Static, bud. And Damo Gunner, big up, Warren. Big up, Damo. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming and joining in the show. I hope you're enjoying it. And yeah, enjoy yourself, buddy. Gavin said, sad thing is people forget they work for us, not the other way around. Exactly, mate. That's my whole point. Aero has now been taken over by the Deputy Secretary of Defence, Kathleen Hicks. She released a statement about this, but I have to say that I agree with Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp when they say, given her position in the defence community, is she the best person to be leading this reporting portal? Because it raises issues with regards to the integrity and transparency. It also seems that in the US currently there is a campaign within the US Defense Intelligence agencies to shape the emerging UFO narrative. These 6 words for me are key in this whole issue. They are not saying debunk or destroy it, they are saying shape it, because I believe that they think they can't destroy it or debunk it any longer by merely debunking it, because people will not buy it any longer. But by shaping it, they can control what we are told, and this will be a far more effective way to manage this situation, so that what people will take from these discussions, etc., is acceptable to them and doesn't damage them. Apparently, there are several other whistleblowers waiting in the wings to come out, but my question would be, how are they going to share what they know if there is no safe forum for them to do so? And this was the statement that Kathleen Hicks put out. So she said, I believe that transparency is a critical component of Aero's work, and I'm committed to sharing Aero's discoveries with Congress, the public, consistent with our responsibility to protect critical national defense and intelligence capabilities, Hicks told Defense Scoop. Now, that sounds good on paper, but if you look deeply into it, it's sort of giving her like a get out where she can say, I can't tell you. So, and I think she will use it. I do. I've got no trust in these people. Right. Okay, so we go on to my thoughts now. So, for as long as I can remember, reports of strange craft being sighted in the sky or interactions with what appear to be extraterrestrial or non-human entities have been met with skepticism down the years. I've got into several heated debates with scientists about this subject, and the crutch that I have found that they lean on is they claim there is absolutely no evidence of aliens unless them interacting with our planet. But my view on this is that they don't know anything more than you or I do. This irritates them because they like to be in control, and a lot of scientists like things that are in straight line and boxes, and this is completely unpredictable. No one on the planet has all the answers to all the questions that come with this issue, and I would argue there is a mountain of evidence in relation to the existence of aliens or non-human intelligences and in them interacting with our planet. The problem that scientists have is that they are just as in the dark with this issue as what we are. And for centuries now, the vast majority of them have been complicit in the lies that we have been told and the danger for them and all their partners is if it comes out from the highest sources that they are real, then it will seriously undermine their positions as pillars of our society. Reports of UFOs and reports of interactions with aliens have been open to ridicule, and the people who have been brave enough to come forward to talk about their experiences have either been publicly ridiculed, threatened, or their families and loved ones threatened, and in some cases have had their lives destroyed, or even in some cases people have been murdered as a way of silencing them and or others who may be considering coming out. It is also my belief that the world's power brokers, whoever they may be, have used and continue to use subliminal messages in in popular culture, such as TV, film, radio, and printed media, to drip feed the world with information about human contact with alien civilizations. One very good example of this is in the two Independence Day films. In these films, you can see the President of the United States trying to talk with aliens and Earth scientists trying to back engineer an alien craft, trying to get it to work. And this is not only the only film where this has happened. There are many others to name but two: the film Close Encounters of the Third Kind and the comedy film Paul. After watching the video I saw about the hearing in the US Congress and listening to the frustrations aired by the congressmen and women about the pushback that they had encountered in trying to investigate this issue, it left me asking myself the question, who is running the United States? The military / Pentagon or Congress? As 3 US Congress people were denied access by the military, the US Congress should, in my opinion, be telling the military what to do, not the other way round. I also strongly believe that in reality, the government have no idea what is going on, and certainly have no idea why ET is visiting us, what they're hoping to achieve, whether their intentions are benign or hostile, and if they are hostile, how to defend our planet against them. I also believe this is one of the reasons why our government have attempted to keep us in the dark about this issue. Just imagine the situation, okay? The President of the UN is asked to address the world's population on a worldwide TV show. This is how I think it would go. My fellow citizens of the planet Earth, I come to you today to tell you something of the highest importance. Our planet is currently being visited by craft, and this has been the case since the beginning of human existence on this planet. We have no idea where these craft are coming from, why they are visiting us, and what they want from us. We also have no idea whether their intentions are hostile, friendly, or just curious towards us. We have recovered crashed craft and non-human entities who we believe were piloting these craft, and we have recovered some of their technologies. The famous Roswell incident was true. Yes, we did recover a crashed craft of unknown origin, and then there were non-human bodies recovered as well. But unfortunately, we have not been able to work out how their technology works. But rest assured, we have the world's finest minds working on this. We are sorry that we have not told you about this before now, but we have been trying to find out to the answers to these questions that we knew that you would have. But I promise you, as soon as we do have some answers that we can give you, we will let you know. So this is why one of the biggest reasons that a few months ago I believe that the government installed that emergency alarm system on all our phones. With regards to the UFO crash retrieval program, It's also a widely held belief that these crash retrieval programs and back engineering programs were palmed off to the private sector, because private sector organization, private sector organizations cannot be subject to Freedom of Information Act requests, which means there is also no accountability on them on necessity to provide information. I do believe this is potentially one of the reasons why this task was passed over to the private sector in the first place. Personally, I would like someone to explain to me how it can be justified that organisations which are receiving taxpayers' money cannot be subject to public scrutiny or be forced to operate in a transparent way. And I don't want to hear any nonsense about national security considerations. I would also like it to be explained to the American people or any nation's citizens where public money and huge sums of public money have gone missing. And in the case of the US, it is believed to be anywhere in the region of between 1 and 4 billion US dollars has gone missing, and why this has happened. We have just heard two ex-pilots swearing on oath and talking about how craft of unknown origin are flying in and around our airspace with impunity, interfering with our most powerful and dangerous weapons, and we are powerless to stop them on a daily basis. What bigger national security issue is bigger than that? I also believe that there is a huge danger involved in trying to back engineer, reverse engineer, captured or crashed craft of unknown origin or technology from the same source. Because, for a start, the technology is obviously hugely superior to ours, and I've heard at least one expert claiming that it could be at least 500,000 years ahead of anything that we have, as well as the fact that people have died tampering with this technology. We have no idea how powerful the technology that we have no idea how powerful the technology that we are tampering with is, and how dangerous it could be for us to do so. How dangerous it could be for us to do so. For example, we could potentially unleash a horrific accident, something akin to the Chernobyl nuclear power plant disaster, or worse. To put this into perspective, it is believed that modern human beings have been on planet Earth for circa 190,000 years. And if it is true what this expert reported as saying about the technological level of the alien non-human intelligence technology that we are tampering with, then the gap between our technology and the aliens and non-human intelligences would seem to be over twice as big as the length of time that we've been on this planet. For us to start messing around with this technology of this nature, we like us dropping a motorbike off with the keys in the ignition with a group of human beings at least 190,000 years ago. And in reality, the technology that these entities of unknown origin have to us is borderline magic. Personally, I find this terrifying. It may also be that one reason they don't want to state what they know is because the technology involved is so powerful that anyone who works out how it works is able to replicate it or is able to apply it. Then that nation state or private organization or wherever it is would be invincible, and they will be able to impose their will on the rest of the world. As to why we are being visited at this current time, it may be that the entities that are visiting us are extremely concerned that we as a planet are facing a tipping point, partly because of the conflict in Ukraine, and that they are worried that we may end up blowing ourselves up. There is also a theory which states that planet Earth is an alien experiment, stroke laboratory, and the aliens tinker with us in much the same way that a scientist plays around with a vial in a lab to test out a hypothesis, for example. Some observers have said that this hearing is unlikely to provide proof of the existence of UFOs, but for me, this could be the tipping point, which marks a historic turning point in human history that leads to the truth finally coming out after circa 100 years in modern times of lies, cover-ups, threats, murder, lives being destroyed, doublespeak, policies of denial, and constant ducking and diving. In my opinion, it is long overdue that the power brokers of this world, whoever they may be, tell the world the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about what they know about this subject, because this nonsense has gone on for way, way too long. The reason for the fact that I say the power brokers, whoever they may be, is because there is a theory that the cover-up stroke lack of transparency regarding this issue is being controlled by the non-human intelligence stroke aliens and not by our governments, which is a massive concern to me because that leads me to ask even more questions about our relationship as a planet with the alien stroke non-human intelligences, but that is a topic for another day. It is a human controlled, if it is a human controlled agenda, then I firmly believe that those responsible need to be brought to justice and serve jail time for all the lives that they have destroyed, made a misery of, or those that they have murdered, maimed, or left physically or mentally disabled for life, as well as for holding back the development of the human race and denying this the opportunity to solve, if not all, the vast majority of our planet's problems and making its inhabitants suffer unnecessarily, as well as denying us the knowledge of our true place in the universe and our true history and our place amongst the stars with our galactic brothers and sisters. It is, in my opinion, an abuse that we have been denied the truth about who we really are, where we came from, and our place in the universe. And it is high time that we as a species were told the truth about this issue. It is a huge crime, and those responsible need to face the consequences. So I plead with the world's governments to tell us the truth and free us from this self-imposed slavery to misinformation, false histories, and stop holding the human race back and set us free. Do I think that the world's power brokers will come out anytime soon and tell us everything they know? No, I don't. But the good news is that I believe that the tide has turned, and no matter how many blockages they put up, how much pushback they try, or how many negative tactics they employ, the truth can come out eventually. With regards to the US Congress hearings on UFOs, in my opinion, the public hearings are vitally important, not least because it is so symbolic and it will encourage others to come forward and tell the world what they know. There are calls for a select committee to be appointed so they can look into this matter further and subpoena people to testify if necessary. In the last few days, NASA, or as it is known in the UFO community, never a straight answer, released a long and eagerly awaited report entitled NASA Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena. Now, I haven't yet read this report, but it is a 36-page document, but I've heard that it's a hatchet job. But given that I haven't read it yet, and until I do, I wouldn't like to make a statement about it until I have. But I did watch the sham of a press conference that NASA hosted to launch the report, and I heard the head of NASA, Bill Nelson, lying on camera about the allegations that David Grush had made regarding the US government being in possession of UFOs. In In particular, he stated that he heard David Grush say on the nightly news that he had a friend who knew where there was a warehouse that a UFO was locked up in, and he also had another friend who'd said that he had parts of an alien. Bill Nelson then went on to say, "Where is the evidence?" The reporter then came back with a follow-up question saying that David Grush had also interviewed over 40 people at the Pentagon, to which Bill Nelson's only response was, "A long time ago there was a TV show called Jack Friday, and in it he used to say just the facts." And then he said, "Show me the evidence." So it's clear by this response that Bill Nelson gave to the question, the answer that Bill Nelson gave to that question from the reporter, which in my opinion was ridiculous and stupid in the extreme, that David Grush, who had sworn on oath to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, had risked his life and liberty and freedom to come forward and share this information, was lying. It is not only bizarre and arrogant in the extreme that a man in his position can make up such a statement, but it shows he didn't even bother to keep himself up to date with events that have been unfolding in relation to this subject. It is also a complete misrepresentation of what David Grush had said. For me, it's unbelievable. In addition, that it came out that whilst working on this report, the team compiling it did not look at any classified information. I'm sorry, if that's true, what were they looking at? And what was the point in producing the report if they were only looking at stuff that was already in the public domain? For me, without having read the report, when hearing stuff like that they only looked at stuff that is already in the public domain, it leads me to wonder if this report is just another part of the public disinformation campaign. I also believe that this whole exercise was put down and used as a weapon to try and shut down the growing campaign for transparency around the UFO phenomena. I also found the attitude of the panel present at the press conference incredibly arrogant, condescending, patronising, and ignorant, particularly when they were answering questions from the media. I saw the panel continually smirking, and to me, it looked like they thought the whole thing was a big joke. To be honest, I would like to know if that was the case, and I saw nothing to tell me it wasn't. Why do they think that producing a report which was paid for by the American taxpayers is a joke, and that it is helping to maintain their I would suspect privileged lifestyles? James Fox asked Bill Nelson, "How can you make a determination about something, about what something isn't if you don't know what it is?" So let me say that again. He asked the question, how can you make a determination about what something isn't if you don't know what it is? That's what I'd like to know as well. In response to this question, Bill Nelson talked about NASA being open, transparent, and he didn't really answer the question. I suspect because he knew that he couldn't. On the subject of NASA being open and transparent, I would like to say that if they were, then it would be the first time since they were formed in 1958 that they have been, because they've got a long track record of lying and covering stuff up. So I also want to make an appeal now, and that is, if you are a US citizen, please contact your local senator and or Congress people and tell them that you're aware and that they are about to debate and vote on the National Defense Authorization Act and the Intelligence Authorization Act, and what should be put in these acts. And this is an issue of great importance to you, and you want to know what has been going on with UAPs and the government, what the government knows about UFOs/UAPs. This is hugely important, not just for the US, but the whole world. because in my opinion, one of the most powerful countries, if one of the most powerful countries in the world exposes the lies and the cover-ups, all the other governments of the world will have no choice but to do the same. There are 4 websites that you can visit to take action. I can't stress highly enough how important this is. It is massive, but it's time limited. You, I believe, only have a week, so please get busy. I personally will be forever grateful if you do. The problem, since this issue has come, the problem is that since this issue has come to light, and the momentum behind the campaign for transparency in the UFO phenomena has been going on for as long as I can remember, and not just in recent months. And the problem is, the closer that we get to and the closer that we get to finding out what the government knows, and more importantly, what the power brokers know, the harder the pushback has become, and it will get stronger, believe you me. As Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp said, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for finally get the truth about what is going on, because if we fail, we may never get another opportunity as good as this for a lifetime, and our involuntary enslavement will continue. I don't know about you, but I really want to know, and yes, I can handle it. So, because I'm a UK citizen, I'm planning to start a UK-based campaign group to campaign for the UK government to release to the UK citizens what it knows about the UK's involvement with UFOs, UAPs, and non-human intelligences, aliens. And so, if you are a UK citizen and you want to be involved in this, then please email me to a special email address which I've set up, which is unveilingrealities23@gmail.com. That's unveilingrealities23@gmail.com, and we can have a discussion. If you are from outside the UK, then please consider setting up your own campaign group and connect with me so that we can support each other, because I'm sure that this is going to be one hell of a dogfight. And the more of us who join together on this issue, the stronger we will be. And remember, it is your government. Make it work for you. And it is a government for and of the people. It isn't. If it's not doing that, then why do we need it? So that's it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching. And remember, people, keep your eyes on the skies and keep fighting the good fight. Thanks ever so much for watching, and take care. And before I go, I'm just going to read these last comments. And Gavin is saying, sad thing is people forget they work for us, not the other way around. Static, says Gavin, I know, laugh out loud. 17 likes and subscribe. Gavin saying, just making sure, Static, I'm higher than the extra testicles at the moment. Gavin said, of course, laugh out loud. Static, NASA, laugh at it. Yeah, never a straight answer, Static. Don't forget. It's a bit like Arsenal, really. Great show, Warren, said Static. Thank you, Static. Take care, everyone. Like and subscribe before you leave. Yeah, please, everyone, before you go, make sure you put a like on the video, and please don't forget to subscribe. And if you want me to, I will upload on my channel videos of the congressional hearing. I will also upload a video of the interview that David Grosh did on News Nation, and also the NASA news conference. If you want me to do that, I'm happy to do it, but I'll upload it on my channel because I don't want there to be any issues for Diesel doing that. Gavin says, cheers, Warren. It's an absolute pleasure, mate. I love doing it. It was absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed doing this, and I hope you all enjoyed it too. So anyway, guys, thanks ever so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves and all your friends, your families, and your loved ones. Please remember to share some love and kindness around the world. And remember, keep your eyes on the skies and stay curious, and remember to keep fighting the good fight. Take care. Bye for now.